President Trump speaking to reporters over at the White House just before leaving for his trip to Scotland. I want to go right to our senior White House reporter, Kevin Liptak. Kevin, you've been listening to what the president had to say. Update our viewers who may have just tuned in.
Yeah, and it was quite a lengthy session that we had with President Trump out on the South Lawn as he's heading now on his way to Scotland. And I think one of the most interesting things that he was asked and sort of answered was whether he was considering a pardon or commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell. Remember, she is the associate of Jeffrey Epstein, who is down in Tallahassee, Florida, yesterday and today, speaking with the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, who is potentially looking for more information about this Epstein case in a bid to kind of tamp down on the furor among some of the president's supporters who believe the administration has not been transparent enough. And the reason this question of a pardon or commutation has come up is because people are wondering what incentive Maxwell will have to kind of spill the beans, to talk to Blanche, to give him the information that he needs. You know, she's serving a 20-year prison sentence down there for sex trafficking, and she has appealed her case. She wants to get out of prison. Listen to what the president said when I asked him this. Would you consider a pardon or a commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell if she's
It's something I haven't thought about. It's really something.
Recommended it.
It's something I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not thought about.
But you wouldn't rule it out, sir?
Why has Mr. President?
So you hear the president saying that he hasn't thought about it, but that it is within his power to do that. At another point in this, the president was asked, well, do you think Maxwell's words are really credible, given she clearly seems to be jockeying for some sort of leniency? And the president said that Todd Blanche, the person who is interviewing her down there, that he has an enormous amount of faith in him, that he is a great man, that he kind of knows what he's doing. Remember, Blanche is also President Trump's former criminal defense attorney. Now, on this Epstein matter, the president also clearly looking to deflect some of the questions, asking why people aren't asking more about, for instance, Bill Clinton's associations with Epstein, other Democrats who may have had associations with the late convicted sex offender. And so the president, clearly trying to deflect some of those questions as he now tries to also put some geographic distance between himself and this matter. He's on his way now to Scotland, putting the entire Atlantic Ocean between himself and Washington, where this fear has kind of built up. Wolf.
All right, Kevin Liptak at the White House for us. Kevin, we'll stay in touch with you. Thank you very, very much. There's more breaking news right now. In Florida, it's day 2 of the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche's interview, his conversations with longtime Jeffrey Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell. It's set to get underway at any minute now. And we're getting brand new video into the Situation Room, which shows Maxwell's attorney arriving only moments ago at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Tallahassee, Florida. Here's what he told reporters. Listen to this.
Round 2, ready to go in for round 2. We're hoping for another productive day. Ghislaine has been treated unfairly for over 5 years now. If you looked up scapegoat in the dictionary, her face would be next to the dictionary definition of it. So, we're grateful for this opportunity to finally be able to say what really happened, and that's what we're going to do yesterday and today.
I know you didn't want to discuss the substance of the questions that the Deputy Attorney General was asking, but can you talk about her and how she's feeling about the meeting and what might be coming out of it?
Yeah, she's keeping her spirits up as much as she can. She's one of the strongest people I've ever met. She's been in terrible, awful conditions for 5 years. We wouldn't keep animals the way she's been kept in prison. So, it's unbelievable that she can keep her spirits up this high, and we're proud of her.
David Marcus answering reporters' questions as he's walking out of that courthouse in Tallahassee. The negotiations, the talks continue today between Ghislaine Maxwell and the Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General, the number 2 official in the U.S. Justice Department. CNN's Ivan Rodriguez, there you see him. He's in Tallahassee covering all of this for us. Ivan, what are you seeing so far this morning?
Well, Wolf, we're now entering, as you said, that highly anticipated day 2 of meetings between Ghislaine Maxwell, her attorneys, and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. As we saw there earlier this morning, we saw Maxwell's attorney David Marcus enter the courthouse. Very interestingly, we heard him regard her as a scapegoat to those sex trafficking crimes, but he also ended by saying that Maxwell has no reason to lie and that she's going to keep telling the truth. Yesterday, both sides met for about 6 hours. It was a very long meeting, and we expect that meeting to probably last at least a couple of hours today as well, Wolf. But a big question here is, what is Maxwell actually saying? And maybe even a bigger question here is, what is Blanche asking? Yesterday, we did see a statement from Blanche on X saying that at the right time, he will talk about the information that he learned during these meetings. He has not spoken really at all about what's been going on. Yesterday morning, he walked into the courthouse and we saw him exit in a vehicle. We maybe expect him to exit in a similar fashion today without making many comments. Later today, we might expect to hear again from Maxwell's attorney, David Marcus. He's been a little bit more vocal every time he's entered and so far exited the courthouse.
All right, Ivan Rodriguez, we'll stay in close touch with you as well. I want to continue our conversation right now. CNN legal analyst and criminal defense attorney Joey Jackson is joining us right now. Joey, is it unusual for the Deputy Attorney General of the United States to be the one interviewing Ghislaine Maxwell at that courthouse in Tallahassee, Florida, very close to the prison where she's spending 20 years?
So, Wolf, good to be with you. The answer is yes, it is. But I think it goes to the sensitivity of the issue and the fact that they want to keep tight reins on it, they being the White House and the president. And I think you want someone who is a direct report because you want to control the information, you want to control the narrative, and you want to control the flow. And so if you really obviously want to get at the truth would be, and it would lie in the files. You could be fully transparent by releasing them, and they'll speak for themselves. But I think certainly she's a critical component, Wolf, with regard to gathering information that's important to who was around Jeffrey Epstein and what specifically they were doing.
Are you surprised, Joey, that this interview is now in its second day?
So I am. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of information to unpack, and, you know, a lot has been said about whether she's truthful or not truthful, and I think she's in an impossible situation. Well, why? If she says things that are damning to the president, she's going to be deemed to be a liar. If she says things that are, you know, supportive of the president, she's going to be deemed to be a liar. But I think no matter how long the interview goes, it's important that everything she says be corroborated, and that can be done. You're going to ask her who, what, when, where, and why, and how, etc. And I think that what you want to do, in addition to gleaning from her the specifics to your questions, is you want to vet it. We have the best intelligence sources in the world, and I think you can do that by looking at text messages, emails, surveillance, documentation, flight records, and other things that would go to show whether what she says would be credible.
What's the significance, Joey, of this interview, this meeting, that it's being done in the U.S. Attorney's office down there in Tallahassee, Florida, and not at the nearby prison where it could be recorded by the Bureau of Prisons?
Again, I think it's important that they want to, that is the White House, control the information. And to your question, Wolf, what will be important to me is not only the transcript with respect to what was said and how it was answered, meaning the questions posed and the answers, but what was it like off of that, meaning, hey, we're here just to get at the truth, but realize and recognize that certainly the president has an interest here, and, you know, what you say, you know, may in fact influence whether or not a pardon might be available, but we just want the truth. I mean, I don't really mean to be in a position of being skeptical, but you have to be skeptical. And if it's really about the truth, Wolf, I think we would see files, and we would see those files released to the American public. And the question has been posed, well, you know, Biden was in charge, and why didn't he release the file? I think there's an easy answer to that. I think the answer is that there might be information that's damning to both sides, and neither side wants it released. But if you want to get at the truth, release the files, ask her questions, corroborate what she says, and I think we will all know what was happening and who was involved, if anyone.
All right, Joey Jackson, thank you very, very much.